For the first 5 years of my career, I didn't own a camera. My employer owned them. I had an in-house job and I got fired. I didn't have any money. I didn't have a camera. And I knew that I needed to continue in photography. My first couple years in photography, I worked for my dad. I worked in a studio doing tabletop photography on location as assistants and grip. It was really fun, but I knew that I needed to do my own thing. Stopped working with him, and I went and I actually worked for a summer camp for a little bit, and I borrowed one of my dad's cameras, went off and worked as their photographer at this camp. I came back and I had to find a place to live. Ended up working as a temp at a local factory. I was just trying to make ends meet. During that time of my life, got engaged, and then I got a job as an in-house photographer and videographer for a local real estate firm. I was at $25,000 a year. It was just enough to scrape by. Got married. We lived in a small upstairs apartment. I worked at that real estate firm for 2 years, and I really viewed those 2 years as my opportunity to go to film school because I needed to learn and I needed to hone my craft. They were paying me to learn that, so I consumed everything that I could, all while learning and meeting realtors in the area. I went on a trip to Seattle with Josh, and pretty sure I borrowed one of his Nikon cameras because he was testing out the Canon system at the time. Went to Mount Rainier, went to Olympic, rode down into the Oregon coast on Highway 101, and it was a life-changing trip for me because I had never been to the West Coast. I had never really done photography like that, and I was hooked. And I'm like, that itch to go off and do something on my own became even stronger, but I didn't know what it looked like. I didn't know what that next step was going to be. And then a few weeks later, I got an email from my boss to go into his office, and he let me go. He gave me a couple weeks to tie up some loose ends, finish up some projects and stuff. And he gave me the rest of the day to go home and kind of just reflect on what my future would look like. And I went back to that footage from Washington. My dad let me borrow his drone for that trip, and I put together a quick video of some drone footage that I took over the Oregon coast. And as I was putting that together, I went and onto Squarespace and I made a website and got the domain lucasvanderlinde.com, not sponsored by Squarespace. Uploaded that video to it. I just spent money that I really don't have because I was making $25,000 a year. There wasn't a way to save up for a camera, really. Then it got real. I'm like, I need to buy a camera, I need a laptop, and I need a lens and a tripod to really make this work. I came up with a plan. Plan was to start a real estate listing photography company because I knew that I had connections in real estate, and I had already been shooting real estate listing photos for the majority of the agents in that brokerage for a couple of years at that point. So I had already been working with a lot of these guys. And so I came up with a plan to sell packages, listing packages at discounted rates if you bought in bulk. The range was like $1,000 to $5,000. I saw the value in just getting my business up and running. And without a camera, without a laptop, I had nothing. I went to every single realtor in my office, dropped that packet down on their desk, and waited. And then on my last day, gave the brokerage my laptop, gave them the Sony camera that they had bought, did my laps. And by the time I went back into that lobby, I had signed deals and had checks totaling $20,000. I went to the bank, I deposited the checks, drove to the Apple store, and bought a laptop. I called my friend Josh, who I went on that trip with, and said, "Are you still selling that camera?" And I bought a camera, ordered the lens, ordered a tripod, and I was shooting listing photos that next week. Now, obviously, I had sold 200 listing photos, and I was really banking on those not getting used right away. And I was also banking on being able to get enough to buy everything that I needed, because if I didn't, then I wouldn't have the means to shoot the photos, and I would have figured it out. I was so thankful during that week. I remember for the Christmas bonus coming in and getting a $100 bill on my keyboard. To go from that to making my basically yearly salary in one day, that changed things for me. I didn't look at work the same way again after that. I don't think that that's like a formulaic thing for you to go off and do, but that's what worked for me, how I got my step into the door of freelance photography. Now, there's a lot of stories. I mean, from there, my story just kind of goes crazy with a bunch of different projects, opportunities, and everything. But that was really the setup that got me from broke, starving artist who doesn't have a camera, doesn't have his tools, to being able to work and do the projects that I do today. I finished out all of the listing packages that I had committed to in that first year. And then I even upped my prices and sold more of those listing packages later to those faithful first clients. At the end of the day, it was a lot of circumstances that all came together into one moment of being prepared. If I wasn't prepared to go out into the market and provide a service, that none of this would have happened. Thank you so much for watching. Let me know if you want to hear more stories like this of my career and continuation of the things that I'm working on today. And I will see you in the next video.